Hi, Edie. I'm gonna join you, invite you in just 1 second. Hi, everyone. All right. Hi, Edie. Okay. Hello, everyone. Yay! Hi, Edie.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being here.
Yay. Thank
You
you
look
for inviting me.
beautiful.
We both did red.
Yeah, we did. I actually haven't done red. I kept it kind of subtle, but today felt like a red, so I probably got the beat from you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get started because Instagram is very harsh on the 1 hour rule, and I want to get as much of you as we possibly can in the next hour. So, everyone who's joining, thank you so much for being here. This is a ongoing interview series I've been doing for the past few weeks with some of my favorite queer femmes in the burlesque industry, and just kind of getting to know what's going on for them individually within what's going on within the pandemic and the quarantine and shelter in Sparkle, which is what I call it. But before we begin, I'm just going to do a little intro of Edie. It's just very short and sweet. So Edie Eve is an indigenous queen. She's a burlesque performer, model, and makeup guru, as we can see. She always keeps it 100 with a brilliant mind, and we are so, so lucky to have her today. So Edie, thank you. I know that just in this time, every day, at least for me, is so different. And so to like commit to like just being vulnerable and talking with us about what's been going on with you for the past like month. Is it 2 months or 1 month? I've lost track of time.
I think a month and a
A
half
month and a
because it was
half,
the
yeah.
middle of March.
Yeah, and they just extended
March.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll definitely dive into that. But before we do, I definitely want to hear about your queer journey as much as you want to share with
Yeah.
us about what that's been like for you. And yeah, go for it.
So for me, I want to say it started when I was a little girl, and I loved I I would I was always attracted to like women in lingerie,
Yes.
old films and new films with women in lingerie, which is why I'm a lingerie fetishist and a lingerie addict myself now.
Mhm.
Um, and then I
Lingerie model.
remember, yeah, that too. Um, and then when I was in middle school, I just wanted to watch as many queer films as possible.
Yeah.
So before Netflix, which I'm pretty a little jelly of the younger generation where they can go on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon and watch all of these amazing like B films and cult films like Gregoraki or Pedro Almodovar films.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to walk all the way to the library and rent as many like queer films as possible and hide them from my parents and watch them when my parents weren't around, like
Mm-hmm.
Boys Don't Cry and Velvet
Yeah.
Goldmine and Priscilla Queen of the Desert. I
Yes.
remember they were showing at like 2 a.m. and I recorded it, and just anything gay and queer I wanted to watch. I
Yes.
would watch Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and I loved it because I just wanted to see gay people
Uh-huh.
on TV. I wanted to be around gay people and queer people.
Yes.
Um, and then when I was in high school, I was in Gay Straight Alliance, and I
Uh-huh.
was the president for 2 years. And I remember 2008, I was a senior and I volunteered for the No on Hate campaign, the
Hmm.
No on Hate campaign. I call it the No on Hate campaign.
Okay.
And I was, grew up in a very conservative Mexican Catholic family. So I
Mm-hmm.
would have to hide the fact that I would take the bus from my little suburb all the way to downtown San Diego to the
Mm-hmm.
nearest Queer Youth Alliance building, and I would
Mm-hmm.
volunteer and I would do like phone banking
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's interesting coming up to the Bay because it's a lot more radical than, you know, Gay Straight Alliance, but it was really important for me because I wanted to be around my folks and my
Mm-hmm.
community, and I just, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's about it. And I'm constantly growing as a person. So even though I'm going to be 29 later on this month, I'm still
Oh
finding myself.
yes, Gemini baby.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini. I share the same birthday as Harvey Milk too.
Oh really? That's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, that was just such like a beautiful like context to share your queer journey and through like the films. I forget you're such a
Mhm.
big film buff. Yeah, and you're so right. It's there's just so much secrecy because we don't have as much access as we do today, and especially like for a lot of us, the first access we have to anything queer, gay, or other is through, a lot of it's through art and film
Yes.
specifically. So yeah, that kind of gave me chills because that is, I think, for so many of us, like the start of our awakening. You
Yes.
know, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
that's so much.
Watching Angelina Jolie and Gia, you know, I love that
Totally,
film. And I
totally.
remember the film Milk came out when I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
senior year, and I moved to San Francisco. And to me, San Francisco it wasn't really like the tech industry. I thought of it as like Harvey Milk when
Mm,
I moved here. And I was like, I'm so excited. I want to go to the Castro and I want to be at the Castro every day and go to the Castro
totally.
Theater. And
Yeah, no, totally. That makes me so sad because I think I really relate to that romantic notion of the San Francisco
mm-hmm.
specifically. You know, once was kind of the Harvey Milk fantasy, but reality, and now it's just
Yeah.
not the case anymore. So there's definitely a lot to grieve about that.
It, I, I know it's not necessarily the case. I know a lot of folks when they think of San Francisco, they think of the tech industry and the VC venture capitalists, but I feel like it's my goal. Someone asked me before, they're like, so what is your goal? What do you care about?
Mhm,
And my goal is to make sure that the city still has its art,
mhm,
which is why I love where I work at the Yerba Buena Gardens Festival.
mhm,
And I love supporting local artists and zine festivals and film festivals and the Roxy Theater and the Victoria Theater when it was open on Haight
mhm.
Street and Amoeba and going to City
Yeah,
Lights Bookstore and the Beat Museum because
yeah.
that's the San Francisco I love and I
Mhm.
want to keep that going.
Definitely. Well, I
Yeah.
think you being here is definitely a part of that preservation, you know, just remembering that history and just being open about yourself and keeping people accountable or like helping people remember what it started off as.
Yeah. Hmm.
Thank you for that. Well, we'll dive into kind of the topic of this afternoon's talk, which is what's been going on for you in quarantine. So, the first question I love to ask about people is can you give us a snapshot of when or how it first started to really sink in that everything as we knew it would pause and this was real? Do you have a specific like memory of like when that really hit you?
You know, where I work at, we put together a free festival
Mm-hmm.
outdoors at the Yerba Buena Gardens, right next to the Metreon, across the street from the Contemporary Jewish Museum, right next to YBCA.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, know what's going on. And I've been looking at this and reading about coronavirus and COVID-19 ever since the first articles came out in mid-January.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always keeping an eye on the news and keeping an eye on what people are doing. And then slowly you saw folks pulling out of conventions. You saw different festivals like South by Southwest canceled, Coachella. You
Mm-hmm.
saw now a lot of tech office buildings are telling their workers to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the week before the Monday where shelter in place was in order, I realized, okay, so something's going down
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to run to the office, grab whatever I need, grab my
Mm-hmm.
files, and then I'm just going to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Did
and
you
maybe it
did you
just,
make sorry, go ahead.
no, it's you, it was, you could just tell because it's kind of like, when, like if there's a sinking ship and you see all the rats kind of all
Mm-hmm.
the, not that I'm saying everyone on the bar is a rat, but but
No,
you
it's
see
totally,
that the bar is empty, that public transportation is so empty, and you realize, yeah, I think this is a good time for us to just stay at
well,
home.
it's kind of a funny, I don't know if the metaphor analogy, but kind of the rat race kind of stopping too for a moment, you know? But yeah, I remember you, and I spoke with Clara Bodacious last week. I remember you and Clara specifically being the first two who I think were really publicly on, like, Facebook and stuff, just being saying take this seriously,
Yeah.
and really I think being on the forefront and that makes sense, like you're kind of in the events industry as well, so you had to be like well knowledge about what was going on because your work revolved around that. And yeah, we were at the Legends Challenge too, and I think was that your last time performing before?
That, yeah, that was my last time performing, and then I had a dinner with my friend Pansy and their partner Cass, and that was my last. That was our last outing.
Oh wow.
That was a Tuesday night, and then that was it. And then the Legends Challenge was the last, very fun. The last show I performed in, but also, I see myself also as a participant in the last time, the last fun show. And who knows when we'll be able to have
I
a
know.
show like the Legends Challenge. So,
No, it's definitely been like a big transition, and I was like particularly excited to talk with you this afternoon, especially because the shelter in place, at least in the Bay Area, has been extended, and I think we all kind of knew that, but I think every single time it does, it's almost like we don't want it to be true. So yeah, so we're kind of in a different preparation again for another month of this. And so, what has been your preparation, if you've had any, every day? Like, what have you had a routine to kind of keep yourself like balanced and steady? Are you still working your job from home?
yeah, I'm still working. A I used to have a set schedule, like wake up, do some exercising, work, da da da. Da. But then that got just very boring.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think my mind is kind of used to every day kind of being the same, which is kind
Mm-hmm.
of sad and drives me a little, off the walls. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think I just take every day one step at a time. And, I wake up and I brush my teeth and I make sure to eat something and make
Yes.
sure to wash my face. And
That's actually that's so, I think it's a good point. Those simple things people forget to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not timed. I used to be where I would time stuff, but I think
Mhm.
that's just no good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I know that you were planning to go to the cons, am I saying that right? Cons festival this month. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna go to Europe. I was supposed to go to Europe this past week.
Yes.
And I was gonna go see my friends in Bristol and in London, and then maybe meet up with my brother and his wife in Amsterdam,
Mm-hmm.
and go to all the sex museums
Yeah.
and go to all the they I'm allergic to cannabis, but they love eating edibles. So I
Uh-huh.
would be drinking, they'd be smoking all the weed and shit.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna go to Berlin and hang out with my friends in Berlin, and then go to the Cannes Film Festival and hang out with my Australian friends, and then go to Copenhagen, and Sweden, and
God.
yeah, I was gonna go all over. It's been a while since I've been to Europe, and I really miss my friends in Europe. So
Yeah. Have you been able to kind of stay connected with them through, the phone and stuff? Because you're planning on seeing them in person, so that must have been hard to realize that that wasn't going to happen this time.
yeah, I mean, I've been messaging them, and I call him my gay Danish husband. My my friend Nikolai, who I love, he's an
Yeah.
amazing graphic designer and artist. He
Uh-huh.
is from Denmark, and
Yeah.
he lives in Copenhagen, and it was his birthday. So he had a Zoom birthday party yesterday, which was
Cute.
really cute. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a bit zoomed out of Zoom, and I don't know, I feel awkward on Zoom.
It is a little awkward. I've
You
done a
know?
few of the little gatherings. It's definitely a little awkward.
Yeah.
I feel you on that in general. So thank you for joining. So I'm kind of my screen time is so escalated. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It's
yeah.
one right after the other. And then sometimes I think it was Pansy that wrote something about this. Saying, sometimes it's I don't know, you're not emotionally there. And it's kind of emotionally hard to just be like, all right, I'm gonna talk to someone via through a computer or through a
Mhm.
phone,
Mhm.
but I can't see them in real life. And it's I don't know, it's sad. It makes me sad.
Mhm. So,
Yeah.
do you kind of have any kind of existential philosophy around, because you're such a film buff and so much of your experience has been through the screen? Has it been kind of this weird, like, experience for you to, like, our life is in screens now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I Yeah, it's interesting. I will say, I love that everyone's kind of upping their. I feel like with all these apps like Instagram, people are naturally learning more about photography, which I love, and
Mm,
about lighting. And
yes,
everyone, like right now, I'm using a ring light, which
yes, you look great.
a cheapy one that I bought off of Gina Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do love is I don't usually do TikToks, but I love watching TikToks
So
because
fun.
I
Yeah.
love seeing. To me, it's like everyone's making their own little short films, and I think that's great. It
Yeah.
shows that we're all creative. We all have the capacity to be creative and to be artists. Every single
Mhm.
one of us. So yeah,
Yeah.
I do. That's something that I noticed with quarantine that I do love is seeing the creativity come out.
Definitely. Well, on that note, can we dive a little into your thoughts around kind of these Instagram live shows? We can talk about TikTok, more about
Yeah.
that, or yeah, have you done an Instagram live show? If you haven't, would you want to? Do you not want to? Like, what are your thoughts about how we basically transformed our art form into the digital platform?
Um, I feel like we're definitely overlooked. I talked about this at work at my staff meeting. We're talking about how because we may have to move the festival to an online platform.
Okay, is this supposed to be this summer?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, but it's on hiatus. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of. I think we're definitely overloaded with shows
Mm-hmm.
on and online streaming and just it's we're inundated with free stuff. But I
Yeah.
will say I am kind of excited to see. Apparently, there's this like Erica Badu versus Jill Scott uh live streaming event happening today. I'm pretty excited for that.
Mm.
But
Oh, I've heard. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like hecka
yeah,
woo woo.
yeah.
What time is that at? That's cool. I
I
saw
don't
that.
know. I don't know if anyone knows when the
Yeah,
Erica
holler.
Badu
Yeah,
versus Jill
comment
Scott
here.
event's gonna happen.
Speaking
Please.
of, real quick, I forgot to pin your Venmo. What's your
Oh,
Venmo at?
okay. My Venmo. Hold on. Okay. My Venmo. Okay. I'm gonna go blank
All
for
right.
like 5 seconds.
Okay. We're gonna go blank for 5 seconds, everyone. Don't worry, Edie will be back in just a second. She's just catching her Venmo name just in case y'all have the spoons and the energy and the resources to tip this beautiful woman for her time and her expertise and her experience during the quarantine. Oh, she's back. Did you get it?
Yes, I'm. Yeah.
Are you typing it? I think if I type it, I can pin it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, well I can just rewrite it. Mariana. Cute. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I should have done that in the beginning. I've been a little
It's okay.
off the past few weeks.
I forgive you.
I totally forgot to do like Crocodile's intro last week. Like I was like, meh. I've been a little
How
off.
dare you?
I know, but it's been so fun talking with everyone and you. I just feel like it's been so great getting to know you because you are, and maybe it's your Gemini air, but you're so, you're so well versed on so many different topics, and I think you have a very interesting perspective on not just the art form of burlesque, but life in general. So I'm just excited to get to know you more. But yeah, we were talking about Instagram, like live performing and stuff, and you were just saying how were a little exhausted around it. But I think you were recently in, it wasn't live, but a recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
Yeah, it was Vixie. Vixie Vales has a really cute show,
Mm-hmm.
which I really like. And I think it's really cool. It's because it's a you have to record yourself doing a burlesque routine on your couch or with your couch
Oh,
prop.
oh, that's
So
cool. I didn't know
I
that
think
was the
it's really
prompt.
cute. It's really cute. It's really niche. Um, yeah, it was a very interesting experience doing that because, when you are at home, it's a very different vibe versus when you're out with an audience, it puts you in the right mindset, but when you're at
Mm-hmm.
home, it really does still feel a little bit like rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
And with pre-recording, you do tend to have the habit of saying, okay, I'm going to do it again because I did this wrong. No, I'm going to do it again because I did this wrong. So, and with live performances, what I love is it's one time, and if you fuck up, then just get back up and
Yeah.
look like you didn't, look like you meant to fall and slip.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Totally.
it's a very interesting and different experience. I feel like if I did it more, I'd like it more.
Mm-hmm.
I really love seeing there's a lot of folks that are getting really creative with their backdrops,
Mm-hmm. I see
which I
that.
think helps put the mood together. I mean, me using this ring light, so the next time I do perform, I'll use the ring light,
Mm-hmm.
have like a more proper background,
Yeah, totally. It is
more
like
sexy setting.
it's definitely fun to see how, especially the people who are kind of regularly doing lives, it's fun to see like each week I feel like they have a new thing that they figured out works better.
Yeah,
And it's cool to kind of see that
yeah,
growth from lighting
yeah.
to using your space creatively to, yeah, it's definitely just a different process, and I don't think there's any, I've heard sentiments of like, well, it's not burlesque because there's no live audience, I mean, I'm probably more of that
Who says
camp.
that?
I've heard,
Wait,
I think like I remember when I talked to Banbury was just saying that, for her, it wasn't quite,
wasn't doing it.
yeah, the live, it
Yeah,
wouldn't be the same for her, which I totally
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
I think burlesque is so much a conversation with the audience. So if you don't
yeah.
have them there, how do you do it? But it's not the same. And yeah, I think I'm more of that camp too, but the show must go on.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also to me, it kind of reminds me of those like kind of cheesecake pinup striptease videos that you would see with Tempest Storm and Betty Page. And Betty
Mm.
Page wasn't a burlesque dancer, but they would do these cute,
Little.
like not even like proper dancing, but just
Mm-hmm.
these like striptease videos or putting
Mm-hmm.
on the stockings or taking off. And
Totally. Like
yeah,
tutorials and those
yeah,
snapshots.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
cool.
think that's another thing is that folks are learning more about in a way about like film production and video production because they're learning about lighting and what works and what day of time works and
Mm-hmm.
backdrop. And also something that we learn in film school is setting. Your
Mm.
setting really does help you, and your art direction very much helps you with the background
Mm-hmm.
and with setting a
Getting,
tone.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love it. This is such a fun conversation because the context of how you're experiencing all this is so much through like your knowledge about the film industry and film technology and equipment
Yeah.
and so why aren't you doing more? You would kill the game. Um so much about it. It's like so technical in a lot of ways. But I guess
Yeah.
too, like you said, it could be overwhelming because you have the freedom to do it over and over and over again, and then it kind of might take away from the experience
Mm-hmm.
too. So
I love. I'm a. I think I love watching films. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
watching films, talking about films. Um, I'm really interested to see what the Cannes Film Festival does because I keep hitting
It's
my,
okay.
sorry folks.
Okay.
Um, they postponed it. It was supposed to be in May. They
Mm-hmm.
postponed it to the end of June, July. And
Oh,
then they said, never mind, that's too soon. But they don't know what they're going to do as of yet.
oh, so they're not canceling it. They're just trying to
They're trying to figure out, are they going to have it at the end of the year? But to be honest with you, I just think, I'm gonna be honest, I just think 2020 is canceled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just, I know it sucks, and I don't want it to be canceled. I still want to go to events and to concerts, and I want to see Violet Chachki with you in September.
I know that's in September. I know they rescheduled it.
But you know, at
Yeah.
at this point, I'm just kind of like, who knows?
Totally. No, I think kind of not entertaining that, but inviting that possibility in is good preparation probably for a lot of
Yeah.
us as entertainers and as people like similar. I love watching too, you know, and
Yeah.
so there's a lot of grief in not being able to participate in watching all the things I want to watch. But yeah, speaking of watching, do you have any favorite like Instagram shows that's been around, or Twitch, or Zoom shows, or to like people's online classes and stuff that you've been enjoying or doing yourself?
So I love the Crazy Horse, the Crazy
Yeah.
Horse Paris, the
Mm-hmm.
famous if you've never heard of for folks listening in, if you've never heard of the Crazy Horse Cabaret in Paris, it's a world famous cabaret, topless review in Paris that is absolutely stunning. It is amazing. It is one of the best shows you'll ever see. And I always tell folks who go to Paris, they have to go see the Crazy Horse. You have to. You can't go to Paris, especially, you know, showgirls like us. That is the showgirl mecca.
Yeah.
And right now they're doing a lot of, throughout the week, they're doing cabaret classes with a Spanish dancer. They're doing a yoga. They're doing arm stretching classes with one of this other male dancer who does like I don't know, the one where you can like,
is it
like, it's like you can like, I can't do it, but it's like he's kind of like a contortionist.
okay.
And then on Saturdays they always have a theme workout party, and today was Spice Girls.
Oh my god, they're busy.
And they have a costume contest, so whoever wins the costume contest each week, I think they get like free tickets.
Wow. I mean, I've logged into like briefly on some of those things. I think I'm always at work when they're on, and I kind of dived in, but I didn't know it was such like a full-on schedule that they've been upkeeping for everyone. That's cool.
And some of the dancers, they also provide, they'll do, you know, paid Zoom classes for learn this routine from the musical Chicago. But I love the fact that, to me, that's so cool. The fact that the Crazy Horse and these classically trained dancers are providing basically a free service. I mean, that wouldn't have happened, you know, which is, I mean, you know, you have to think of the positive, and that's one of them. Another one was his Vintage Touch.
Yeah.
He had I've been to 2 of his classes, and you know, they're pretty expensive. It's $150 to take his hair class, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And amazing. And so to see him the other night, he did a whole look, and he was on Instagram Live for about 3 hours, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, he's giving so much of his knowledge for basically for free, and you know, he said he did it because he misses everyone, and he just wanted to provide that service, which is awesome. So.
No, totally. I love that you're bringing that up, because there are a lot of people who are, in a lot of ways, like so accessible, like if you have the means to connect with them, like monetarily, but if not, like they are kind of inaccessible, and they're kind of all really being compassionate for everyone, I think, of all their fans, you know, and offering so many free services to just kind of connect, you know, and I think that is super cool. It's so positive. And I dived into that a little bit the other day. I missed the whole thing with him, but I didn't know his stuff was so expensive. So for him to offer that for free is a really big deal, I think. Yeah.
And I know that he wanted to save the live video, but I think there's a rule: if your Instagram Live is too long, then it doesn't save it. So, you know, he was like, I'm so sorry, you guys, but, you know, unfortunately, it's only going to be on for the next 24 hours. So write your notes down. And
interesting.
But it was, you know, it was a really nice thing.
Well, one thing I learned, if anyone else needs to know how to do it too, is that from the way I've been capturing these interviews is, actually I have Blix do it, but while it's going on, they just do a screen capture through the iPhone. I don't know if
cool.
phones have it. but it records the whole interview for me, and I can do it as long as I have access to it. So within 24 hours, I'm sure I just do a screen capture of the whole interview, and so it captures the whole video of it.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know that before all this. I was like, should I do it through Zoom, through Instagram? Because like I want to be able to preserve the video as much as the audio. So yeah, all the things we learned during quarantine. You're right. We all become little filmmakers.
Yeah, mini documentarians.
Yeah. So his vintage touch, the crazy horse. Is there anything else that you're a big fan of that other people can tune into that you'd recommend?
What else?
If those are the top two, that's totally okay too.
I think those are the two that stuck out for me so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, TikTok. I love.
There's
a lot of amazing stuff on TikTok that I think is hilarious and insightful, and
it's so gay too. Have you noticed how gay?
And it's also very much about like I love following the folks that are also activists, and they're so funny and they're so thoughtful, and yeah.
No, totally. I think I didn't know TikTok was such a fun thing until all this started either. And I'm tired of making them. Like I can't glam up every time to make them anymore, but I love watching. You know, if I like a certain audio, I'll use it, but it'll be like in no face.
I mean, because to me, it's like it's kind of like it is kind of like making a short film. You know, I'm guessing what people do is they think of an idea, maybe write it down how they're going to do it, and then then you got to film it, and then you got to edit it, and it's basically I think if I was a professor teaching a film class, I would have my students, their first assignment is to make a little TikTok video.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I think you're completely right about the process of it, and there's so many cool effects you can have. It's like so cinematic, it's with all the access you have in that little platform. Cool. Well, I kind of want to shift gears and kind of talk about maybe the not that it's not positive, but just like what has been the hardest thing for you about all of this, apart from not having access to the arts? I know you love your art and community, and I think you're so involved, and you're someone who I think that really shows up for things, not just even outside of burlesque, and always trying to let people know like what's going on. That's, not only interesting, but important as well. So if that's what's been hard, please talk about that. If there's anything else that's kind of come up for you during this time, I would love to hear about that too.
I think the hardest thing so far is just feeling like every day is exactly the same day. And just, going, and for a while it was hitting me the past month in April. There's actually one night where I just wanted to drink because I just wanted to feel something different. I just wanted to be in a different state of mind because it hit me that like every day is kind of the same now. It's, you wake up, have breakfast, wash up, work, and then make dinner, and, maybe go for a walk around the neighborhood, read, and then go to bed. So I think to me mentally, I'm a lot better now, but for a while in April, that was really, that was really tough. Was just this idea that every single day is exactly the same, and just other things. I miss my friends. I'm the type of person where I love going to dinners or to lunch or to grab some tea or coffee. I love hearing how my friends are doing and asking them how they're doing, and just having that one-on-one, or and going to shows. Like when we saw Frankie perform at the Comstock Saloon was so much fun. And then so many other friends from other, from other places that I know came, and I miss that. And then also not being able to see my friends in Europe, and I know that like you and so many other folks had amazing things planned for April, May, and for the rest of the year. So I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, it's just that connection for sure, and the kind of the spontaneity that can happen when, things are not things don't have to be the same every day. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you said that so beautifully and like captured the essence so well in terms of yeah, I think the hardest part is like the inability for people to come together. Yeah, it's not fun. But yeah, so with that, what has been the opposite of it? Has there been anything that's been surprisingly um, nice or good about this that you didn't realize would be so nice or needed during this time for you?
I think for me, it would be clarity. I think we're
Mm.
all getting a form of clarity that we all really need.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to be sad,
Mm-hmm.
because this is something that is completely different for every single one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also just clarity of what are my goals in life and what do I want to achieve and what's my next step.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently just moved this past week, so I'm
Yes.
at a new place, which I really love, and for the beginning of the year, I kind of that idea of moving out to a bigger spot. I feel like I talked to you about this too. Just moving out to a bigger spot was something in the back of my head, but being in quarantine and being kind of alone with your thoughts, you realize like, oh, I actually really need this. So
Mm.
clarity, it's the sense of clarity is coming out for everyone that I think is very much needed and that I really love.
Oh, totally. I think
Yeah.
that's totally spot on. It's like we're forced to kind of get quiet and really tune into, okay, what are the things that are important to me right now? And I'm so happy for you in that move. I think that was, I can see you just be like lighter and more, um, yeah, just
Yeah.
for aligned. So you look good and, it's clearly that chapter at that space has ended and you're finally open to a new one. But who's to say that that might have not happened if you didn't have the chance to get quiet and be like, I need to get into action about this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah. Is there anything else that's kind of come to light for you with that clarity?
Well, well, you kind of learn also a lot about folks as well and their values and which is sometimes good and sometimes you see the negative sides of people. So it I'm I know a lot of people mention this and I'm happy that they did, but just it gets really annoying and it gets really hurtful seeing all the like body negative and like fat phobic memes and
Mm-hmm.
comments and posts on social media,
Mm-hmm.
uh, from people that you are surprised to see that from.
Yeah.
So, you learn a lot of people and their values from now during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that I notice some people will say that really like annoys me is
Yeah.
when people say that humans are the virus. We're
Mm-hmm.
the virus, and I think that is insulting to
Mm-hmm.
indigenous folks who have been uh, at the forefront fighting for the environment
Mm-hmm.
and who are
Absolutely.
already practicing holistic ways to preserve the planet.
Absolutely. No,
So
thank
I
you.
don't I don't think I don't think humans are the virus. I think it's capitalism and white
Mm-hmm.
supremacy that wants us to go back to work right now is the virus. So
Definitely.
use up all our natural resources. So,
A
anyways,
100%. You're getting a lot of hearts for that because that is so true. And so thank you for that
thank you.
because
Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. I'm tired of the humans are the virus. Humans are not the virus. That is a slap in the face to indigenous
yeah.
folks all over the world. So,
And I think it was Pretty, aka Emily, aka Cleo's capture, who I think she posted a TikTok of someone who was Navajo who was talking about how it was a TikTok video about how they're
yeah.
actually not documenting coronavirus within the native population. And it's actually real, the numbers are crazy within that population. They're not including it in our census, like in the American census. Isn't that crazy? I just recently learned of that and I'm like, I didn't even think of that or like how are the Navajo people within that boy's particular community being served? And he's like, we have over 1,000 cases and no one's getting help. And then their homes are usually so remote that they don't have access to hospitals.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So, I think that's a really beautiful, important thing you brought to light. And you're right. I think getting quiet makes you realize it's not humans. It is like the source of greedy, money hungry, fear mongering folks who
Mhm.
want to keep the systems going because it
Yeah.
benefits them. Meanwhile, so many people are dying, you know?
All the billionaires are clapping their hands to all the Trump supporters protesting to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the billionaires are saying, "Yay, sacrifice yourself to keep working."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seriously, I mean, and I appreciate you so much in this community because I feel like you are always using your voice, and you're such an activist. And I think, kind of bringing it back to burlesque is, in my opinion, really political. And so regardless if we want it to be or not, like our bodies are political.
Yes.
So um yeah, I love your mind around it. I feel like you're always bringing to light these like things that can just kind of go past us, that shouldn't really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And going back to the idea of clarity,
Mhm,
everyone has a clear idea of how this system is working and how it's really not working for us. And we can't
mhm.
go back to normal.
Yeah,
Normal's not good. Normal wasn't good.
totally.
Yeah.
I posted something like that, like in the beginning, kind of like, are we ready? Are we ready? Basically along the lines of like, I'm not interested in going back to normal. I'm ready for something new. And several folks
Yeah.
responded to that saying that, well, I just wanted to go back to normal. And I'm like, normal is so
Because
horrible for so many of us. And,
normal was terrible for many folks. And we're
mm-hmm,
seeing that now.
mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah. And totally. It's interesting to see how everyone is revealing things about themselves in response to what's going on, whether it's like their own insecurity, like I think specifically about fat phobia. It's like, like people's
Yeah.
fears around
Yeah.
gaining weight and stuff. I've seen that around a lot, people expressing that. And I think it's a real fear of them, but to express that and then not be conscious to like what that
It's
A
hurtful.
says about you, but also
Yeah.
what are you perpetuating when you express that publicly,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It's hurtful. It's hurtful
mm,
and it's dangerous. And it's I actually I really can't believe it. It's like, oh, people are so scared of gaining
mm,
weight.
mm-hmm.
That really,
Right, and all that things to be
so
afraid
that's been driving me. For a while I had to get off of social media because I kept seeing even posts that seem very innocent to folks. I know one person posted something just asking people like, so folks, are we gaining weight? Are we losing weight? um
of.
Even that was like, why are
Yeah,
you asking that question? I did not like that. I thought it was body shaming. I thought it was not cool. I think it's still perpetuating this, body dysmorphia. And I don't
mm,
know, it
totally.
kind of got me for a bit, so I had to take a break. I have to
That
remind myself to take a break from here and there from the
social
memes,
media,
the social memes.
totally.
Yeah.
No, that's very smart. I'm curious in your thoughts about what do you think is our individual responsibility in like speaking up when we see something like that. Obviously, we follow a lot of people we're not particularly close with. Like I feel like if you posted something that was like extremely problematic, like I trust you to be able to be like, hey Edie, like these are my thoughts about this, and you would like be able to take that in and
Yes.
think, and but
Yeah.
that has to be built in some ways. So what are your thoughts on like holding each other accountable for that? Is it how do we counter some of that material that's floating?
Well, I like to message the person personally and say, hey, XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
But another
Mm-hmm.
thing to also counter that is by posting up, on your social medias saying,
Mm-hmm.
hey, folks, because, as like a vague general, hey, folks, can we not have fat phobic memes
Mm-hmm.
and post up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
racist, all of it. Yeah.
yeah, all of that xenophobic,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, um, sharing news articles that are misinformed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, totally. I think yeah, it's kind of one of those tough things within, I think, being a part of any circle or industry. It's like it's just a when, and especially when it's so diverse and people are coming at it from so many different places. It's you want to honor that that's just like their process, you know, and like they have a right to
Yeah.
whatever they're thinking. But then it's like you do have a responsibility when you have something like a following, or you know, yeah, you're responsible for what you put out there, for
Yeah.
sure. And yeah, it's definitely been an interesting thing just to see, even like certain producers, the way they respond to what's going on with like the possible ending of like the venues and the shows. And there's so much fear. So, and I feel like you're someone who consciously chooses positivity. Like, do you have any advice for anyone who kind of gets spiraled down into like the fear mode? And like, what do you do to pause and try to like redirect yourself?
Um, like I said earlier, it is okay to not be okay. It's
Okay.
okay to say I'm not okay. It's okay to cry. You know,
Mhm.
I one time I called my mom and I was crying my eyes out because my mom's a nurse.
Mhm.
And you know, and I was thinking about her, and it's okay to cry. It's I also had an I cried the other week because I missed my friends in Europe, and I was really looking forward. I actually bought my ticket in September
Mhm.
once I got my passport renewed. And it's okay to cry. I actually recommend folks, please don't
Yeah.
hide those feelings. I think, you know, again, in the capitalist system we're under, we have to put a smile on. We're so used to putting a smile on our face.
Mhm.
And, you know, we're so used to saying, oh, I'm fine, I'm okay, when people say, hey, how are you doing? And it's
Mhm.
okay to say, I'm not okay. And it's
Mhm.
okay to cry, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay. It's very much necessary to let those feelings shine. You know, it's
Mhm.
like the what was that? The Pixar film Joy.
Yeah.
Like so you have to have sadness in order to have actual joy. You
Mhm.
have to feel sad.
Mhm.
So um, let it out. Have a
Yeah.
good cry. Don't be ashamed by it. Really let it out. Um, I like doing video diaries. If you don't have someone to talk to or to FaceTime, I love doing a video diary, and I love just filming myself and just letting it all out. You know, word vomit, blah, blah, blah,
Uh-huh.
letting
Do
it
you
all
post
out.
that, or is it just for yourself?
Oh no, I don't. Oh, I don't post it. No, 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 no,
Sorry.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
that's no, that's awesome.
No,
That's probably mm-hmm.
do a video diary. My handwriting is the most terrible handwriting in the world. And when I'm thinking of something, I'm, you know, so I don't really write. I don't really journal.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm doing more video journaling, which
I
I love.
love I love that. And it's a total
Yeah,
thing you can like look back on from time to time and really experience your whole self, you know, what was going on during that. I love that. That's such a really great tool. Thank you for giving that to us. I would
yeah,
imagine a lot of people start to do that themselves, you know.
yeah.
And and thank you for, yeah, I think some people need permission to let them to know like you can cry, you can have your
And you
feelings.
can also, and you know what? You're also allowed to eat as much food and as much comfort food as you want at 2 in the
Yes.
morning. Okay, you are allowed to do that. I'm not. I don't care what these fitness gurus say, or if
Mm-hmm.
people are, you know, commenting, oh, I'm over snacking.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you are allowed to do that.
Yeah. Giving yourself permission to be
I
really
love me.
easy.
What do I love? I love me my mochi ice cream,
Oh, what flavor, girl?
green tea and strawberry.
Yes. I love that. No, I think that indulgence right now is so necessary, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
allowing yourself comfort, especially because I think the biggest fear it's is scarcity, right? So it's almost like we
Yeah.
want to deprive ourselves to you know, diminish because we're in a time, we feel like we're in a time of scarcity, when a lot of that still is not true for most of us, you know, who are
Yeah.
privileged to be able to go out to a store and buy stuff. But yeah, just allowing yourself to just go through the waves of it. I think that's like the
Yeah.
common theme I've heard, is just allowing yourself to just be and not have to like perform, right?
Yeah. And allow, and also, what I love is just seeing so many people saying, and I agree, you know, if you're someone in need and you really need food, don't be afraid to reach out to your friends. Don't be afraid
Mm-hmm.
to go to those free food pickup places. You know,
Mm-hmm.
don't, I know that I know in our society, we're meant to feel like we all have to have our shit together and we all have to keep working and still have all these savings, all this money saved up. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just, you know, allow yourself to be human.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we all need help here and there. And there's no shame in that.
Yeah. Definitely. I think letting your ego down, right? Like breaking down that
Mhm.
ego to ask for help, breaking down that ego to grieve about what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Like you're so in tune with with your feelings. That's so refreshing. Yeah, just like we have a few minutes left. If anyone has any questions, I've been monitoring the comments, everyone. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I just don't want to break up the flow of conversation. But Emily did say that the Erica Badu,
Ooh.
I think it was at 7 p.m. to Jill Scott thing was maybe at 7 p.m. on IG tonight. So things will
7
be
p.m. on
today or May 9th. So that's next
Mi-
Saturday. Next
oh,
Saturday.
okay.
So
Next time.
we'll definitely be tuning into that. And then I think someone also commented they had mochi for breakfast today, or or
Yum.
ice cream for breakfast the other day. So that's awesome. So people are already following suit and like doing their own self care.
Yes.
um, yeah, so if anyone has any kind of questions, you can totally jump in. You probably have time for at least one or two. You totally can. If not, I'm going to take more time with Edie here. But hop in if you do. But yeah, Edie, you're just someone to me that, like Blix and I talk about you all the time, in the sense of just, ooh, there's a question. Do you engage in any favorite spiritual or self care practices to be so grounded and earthy? Especially for a
Uh,
Gemini, not gonna lie. Not to shade you as a Gemini, but you were so grounded for a Gemini.
I am obsessed with skincare. I love skincare.
What do you
So I,
do?
so I love, I mean, I use raw honey as like a cleanser and I just leave it
Mm-hmm.
on for a bit and then using my coconut oil brown sugar as an exfoliant and then doing a face mask and then putting
Mm-hmm.
my rose hibiscus eye serum and
Mm-hmm.
so I love doing that. That's
Yeah,
about it.
that's
And
so.
also I will say I don't really have a meditation schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been one of those books that I've been reading, I really love.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Witches, Sluts, and Feminists.
Ooh.
And I've kind of been more interested in um, Wicca and
Uh-huh.
paganism and well just more natural healing and being in tune with the earth. Also
Yes.
learning more about my ancestors and my indigenous background being
Yes.
Yaqui and Papago. Uh,
Mm.
from I'm from southern San Diego, but my tribes are in southern California, northern Mexico. So
Mm-hmm.
learning more about natural remedies. I have an old roommate who I love, and she studies. She's a herbologist and studies herbs and natural
Mm-hmm.
remedies, and she's also like indigenous Latina like myself,
Mm-hmm.
and she's studied at like, you know, in Santa Fe. She's gone to many different healing trips, so learning from her as well, and paying. That's another thing. Paying folks for their time. If they do a tarot reading, or if they give you any tinctures, pay for their service because they're doing an
Mm-hmm.
amazing service. That is not, the
And it,
standard patriarchal Western medicine. So, and
yeah,
I
and
know
it's
you
beyond
do
what you can
amazing
see.
candles.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's so important because it's beyond what you see, right? Like the product is like there, but it's like what went into that, all the spiritual, the time, the energy, the ancestors that you've called in to make sure whatever product you're creating and manifesting is so drawn in by that spirit. And it takes so much. And you're right, that work isn't honored enough. And that's part of probably yeah, like whole kind of, I guess like spiritualism has become a little capitalistic in its own way, you know, but for certain
I
folks,
mean, I
but
think wasn't it Sephora that tried to sell that crystal kit with the Palo Santo and
I
the
can't
sage?
even. I can't
Yeah.
even. I can't go. You know, I mean, I try not to go too deep. Not deep. I love going deep on here, but I try not to get too much part of the quarantine. Maybe if I do a whole thing, like let's talk about real shit,
Yeah.
because you know
But
I
now
have a
but
lot of feelings about things.
I'm pretty pissed off at Sephora though, and I'm like doing my best to boycott them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that's another thing, clarity, seeing what companies do what to their employees. So to see Sephora did their employees dirty
They did
and
so
fired them
dirty.
in a phone conference and then hung up the phone, that yeah. So
I
I'm
heard
still
about that.
pissed off in Sephora on that. So
I know. It gives me chills. You're so right. I think and that was, thank you for that reminder too. Each time I talk to someone, I was like, what am I supposed to hear here? You know, everyone's going to hear
yeah,
something different in these conversations. And
yeah,
really the gift of that clarity to be able to watch, to see what people do, to see what people say during this time, what they value. It's like so
yes,
insightful. It doesn't mean you have to cancel anyone. It doesn't mean you have to,
yeah,
it's just information to show where people stand around things, and that's knowledge is
yeah,
power, right?
yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah, and before we wrap up, I want to do say Emily was saying you are really emotionally intelligent, and I think that's definitely a gift that you have that not everyone else does. That probably helps equip you during to handle times like these better, and so thank you so much for the little tidbits of knowledge and tools that you've given to us this afternoon, because not everyone
yeah.
that's not intuitive for a lot of people to like,
No,
oh, I should cry or I should eat. It's not, it's hard
no.
for people to really break it down like that, that self-care.
I think we're all raised to just shame ourselves if we're not, if we're not happy all the time, shame ourselves if we eat food that makes us feel good and that tastes
Mm-hmm.
delicious.
Mm-hmm.
um and we should go against that. It's okay,
Definitely.
like eat that freaking big thing of ice cream and cry
Mm-hmm.
your eyes out. That's so necessary. That is so much needed. And
Mm-hmm.
who cares what society and what outside is telling you that you should do or not do.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
let your feelings come out and let it have its moment. If you're
Mm-hmm.
angry or if you're sad or if you're really happy or if you're horny.
Yes, no, totally. I think, yeah, honoring yourself, really honoring yourself. Well, Edie, I
Yeah,
appreciate you so much. Thank you for saying okay to doing this with me. I love your mind. I love your face. I love everything about you. Those of you tuning in, if you have the means to, please go ahead and tip Edie. We have her Venmo information pinned at the bottom. So if you want to do that, please go ahead and do that. And Edie, I adore you. I love you. I'm so happy for this new phase of space you're in. I think it's awesome. And I'm very excited for you. And I can't wait to see you again.
yay. Okay, one last thing,
Yeah.
everyone, go support your local bookstores. They're still selling. Local shops. I'm buying some beauty supplies from Ayla Beauty, which is an
Mm.
awesome woman-run shop in San Francisco. Support local artists. I bought prints
Mm-hmm.
from Gina Barbara, Shannon Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
That's my way of supporting. Yeah, support local.
Yeah, totally.
There.
Absolutely. Thank you for that message. Yeah, support local. Well, thank you, Edie. It's great. Instagram kind of gives you a countdown now. It's 27 seconds left. This is actually helpful. Before they just cut you out and you didn't even know you have to keep track of yourself. But all right. I love you. I adore you. Oh, you better tip her now.